There's something about a dirt bike. The focus it demands, the speed, the flow, the connection to the trail. When I'm riding, I'm not thinking about lead gen or CRM automations or how many emails I've sent. The demand to be firmly in the present moment is so great. It's an awesome metaphor for life. If I could live my whole life always only staying in the present moment and letting go of all my limiting beliefs and all my patterns, I'd be as grounded and happy as I am when I'm ripping my dirt bike up a mountain. The clutch, the throttle, the ruts ahead, I'm with my friends, I'm present, I'm alive. Build mode had stalled a bit. We were waiting on databases from the realtors that we spoke about in episode 2. I was recovering from my first marathon. I went on an annual week-long dirt bike trip with my buddies. For a couple weeks, business just wasn't first. And that used to mess with me because in my old builds, business always came first. No balance, no breath, just drive. But this time it's different. This time, the rest of my life gets a seat at the table too. And now we're back. The databases are here. The campaign is ready. Time to put the math to the test. This is activation energy. Let's go. When we ended episode 2, I had just walked out of 2 meetings with a promise of over 1,000 adopted clients. Once I finally got the realtors' databases with all the information that we need, the list got pared down to about 500. Still a big win. And I hit my goal for the next 3 months, my Q2 planning, if you remember from the build mode blueprint. So I'm good with it. I realized that good realtors with great businesses had challenges with data quality, missing closing dates, missing emails, and sales amounts. This was a good lesson. I'm going to think about this more because I think maybe there's an opportunity for me to help. But here's the thing. Adopted doesn't mean activated. I wasn't here just to collect names. I'm here to test a hypothesis. 500 clients in the system. If 15% of them have a mortgage need in the next 12 months and I close 25% of those, that's 19 deals. That's $85,000 in commission from a $3,000 investment. But we can't get to any of that until we activate the list. This is where most brokers would send a generic newsletter, a cookie cutter refi message, and just hope something lands. Send out another Bank of Canada announcement, send out a don't forget about me email. Most brokers approach realtor meetings looking to establish a referral partnership right out of the gate, and often that doesn't go well. Then those brokers decide that realtors are no good and they stop prospecting realtors. I don't think it's about the realtors. I think it's about the approach and the ask. If I'm mostly looking how this meeting will help me by the realtor giving me referrals and not how I help them, it's not compelling. I will struggle in making good realtor partnerships. Look, I know some brokers who call on hundreds of realtors per month, and that's great. But they're playing a different game. Not the wrong game, just a different game. They are looking for 50 realtors who will give them 2 to 3 deals per year. I'm looking for 5 to 10 realtors that I get 20 deals a year, some from their database and some from their direct referrals. As it relates to activating Ownwell, we knew that we just having the realtors send an email out to their clients saying, hey, this is really awesome, sign up here on my link, we knew that wouldn't work. If this build mode project is going to work, we need to do better than that. We need an actual campaign, a conversion mechanism, a way to turn a cold name on a spreadsheet into a real human who raises their hand and says, yeah, I want to get that mortgage checkup. So I called in some help.
I think my caveat is I wouldn't say that I'm a copywriter. I think that what I have is the ability to synthesize like to problem solve, but also to frame it in a way and like to think about the end customer.
He's the president of Lendesk, one of the sponsors of Build Mode, but more importantly, he's my old co-founder from Finmo and a very special person in my life and one of the sharpest marketing minds I've ever worked with. I called Carter Zimmerman. Together, we built a campaign to turn this list into action. We even ran a little AI versus human copy showdown to see who could write the best performing email. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's build the campaign. I'm with my good buddy, Carter Zimmerman. As just to catch everybody up on the audience, I know you know where we've been, but here we are now. We've had the meetings with realtors. We got the realtors to agree to give us their databases. That ended up being, as you all know, a little bit more work than I planned on, but hey, we got them. They're there. They're set up. We got about 500 names is where we ended up once we cleaned everything of what they had. Man, shocking thing, Carter. Maybe you didn't. Realtors really don't have very clean databases, and I don't mean that to be a slight. Like it was just really interesting. Like it's like, man, you've done all these
Yeah.
past transactions. You worked so hard to get all these, and literally some of them didn't have email addresses. They didn't have closing dates. Like it was really interesting to me. I actually think it was less than what a mortgage broker would have, but that's what we learned. I had about 1,000 or so potential opportunities that turned out to be actually 500 usable names. Is about where we're at.
Man,
So and
that's
now,
interesting. I'll
yeah.
just where my mind immediately goes is we should circle back to this. Like if that's a problem for a realtor, like let's use this copy that we're about to generate in other places because they might have better audiences across social. So let's come back to that.
That's a
That's kind of
good
where my
point
mind
because
goes. Yeah.
one of the things I learned, and it's good for the audience, is that the realtors embrace the idea of Ownwell. I think from a perspective of they knew they're not doing the post funding transaction like follow up very well.
Yeah.
Uh, I think they actually that was one of the reasons why I think it was like I said this in a previous episode. I was actually really surprised at how much the realtors did embrace the idea of Ownwell, like more than I thought they would.
Yeah. And I mean, on those previous episodes, obviously I haven't seen them because they haven't been released yet, but it might even actually change your positioning. And I guess for the audience, they can start to see how we start to riff on, okay, well, what is the actual problem here that we're trying to solve, right? Maybe the problem is the realtor doesn't feel confident about their database. And they don't feel like they've done a good job creating it. So you could go in and say, what do you have today? Twist the knife a little bit. Oh, I don't really have anything that's good. It's not a clean database. It's all over the map. Okay, well then why don't I help you with Ownwell to actually create your database for the first time? That's an interesting positioning because it hits them at their point of pain and resolution.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's true because one of the things that landed is when I was getting appointments, I used copy like I want to show you this amazing new software that's built off a US program that's proven to be successful for realtors. We're getting north of 60% open rates and north of 50% click-through rates. I think you agree that's really good. I'd love to spend 15 minutes to show it to you. Bam, like got the meetings right away. That was
Yeah,
so it was because I think they were thinking, man, I don't have very good marketing for my past customers. I think
yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Well,
Okay, so anyway, we're there, and now it's like when I thought about, oh man, how am I gonna the next big hurdle? That was a big enough hurdle. The next big hurdle is how do I get these 500 people, as many of them as possible, to opt into an Ownwell experience, which they're going to get. The way we built it in Ownwell is they're going to get their valuation of their property regardless. They're getting that. But the real value, well, for me particularly, is if they share their mortgage information with us, we can then actually also analyze whether or not there'd be an opportune time for them to consider refinancing or anything like that. There's also a section, I think you know about it, but it just would catch you up. There's also a section that's proving to be actually quite useful where you tell people that they could qualify or afford this much more house than they currently are in. And it's pulling some demand forward, which the realtors actually like that a lot too.
yeah,
So here we are. So then I thought, well, who am I going to go to uh that knows this stuff like the back of his hand? So I know my friend Carter is the guy. So here we are. So I went to Carter and said, "Hey man, I got a problem. I want you to help me with this. Let's work on creating the best copy that we can convert as many people." So that's where we're at. So then where did you start with this problem, or what are you thinking about it, Carter?
Yeah. So I think my caveat is I wouldn't say that I'm a copywriter. I think that what I have is the ability to synthesize, like to problem solve, but also to frame it in a way and like to think about the end customer. Like what is it? I can really put myself into the shoes of that client who's going to get the email, and then I think backwards to say, okay, well, what is going to get them to actually enter in this mortgage information? What's going to be something that the realtor's comfortable with? And so I think my superpower in running Lendesk, but also was, when we were working together, um, at Finmo, was to take customer problems and actually create solutions for them. So as my caveat is I'm not a copywriter, but I love doing this kind of campaign work. So what I did was I actually started with where I start most of my projects these days, which is AI. So I started with ChatGPT, very simple. I tried to kind of create a control test with AI to see where it came up with, and then I was going to go from there. So actually, what I'll do is I'll just share the prompt that I started with. Very basic.
Oh,
Um,
I like this.
but yeah, so like I'll give you the actual real way that I worked on this. So I said there's a mortgage broker who's partnering with realtors to try and get leads. He's going to use a tool called Ownwell, which is similar to HomeBot, which is the product you're referencing in the US. The goal is to send an email to the realtor's database as the realtor, letting them know the next email coming out is from Ownwell and they should check their home value and add their mortgage information for best results. Write copy that's concise, punchy, high converting, and personal. What I've learned in doing a bunch of different prompts with AI over the last month is the more context you give it about the situation, the better the result's going to be. And sometimes you just get lazy and you just like kind of type in something. But if you spend more time on the prompt, you're going to get a better outcome. That's kind
Yeah,
of the first takeaway.
I agree. Actually, this is, well, for me, it's changed because it used to be at the beginning of AI. Um, I would write my own copy, then put that in and say, can you buff this up, or
Tweak
can
it.
you change it
Yeah.
up? Can you make it this? Can you make it that? I think it's moved to prompting. Prompting is everything, like
Yeah.
literally everything in as it works. So that's actually, I'm glad we touched on that. I think the audience, that's important. And then
So
when you
one
get
thing.
this, you can actually, then you can modify. So go ahead, go through that.
Exactly. No, and I was going to actually piggyback off what you were saying. I saw someone post the other day that they used to use AI to complete their tasks, like, hey, write this email for me. But now what they're actually doing is asking it to help them to understand how to think about a campaign. And so what you see embedded in this prompt is actually me trying to figure out the best way to think about this campaign. In addition, what I could have said is write this email that's concise, punchy, high converting, and personal. And I could have just told it, but by giving it the context, I'm actually allowing it to inspire me to maybe write other variations of it. So I'm seeing how it's actually going to approach this situation. So what did it do? It really took a free home value angle. So like, hey, you're going to get this in the subject line. It says free home value, mortgage insights coming your way. Um, the first sentence kind of orients the user saying, if you don't read anything else, Ownwell's coming. There's an email from Ownwell coming soon. You saw that it's from me, the realtor. You now have the context to know what this email is going to be. So I think that's the way that ChatGPT started to move it into the high converting arena. Um, it also nailed the custom link. So you're going to get this and it's going to get it monthly. So it kind of gives the information. The tool's super helpful, totally free. I think you'll love it. Keep an eye out for it. It'll be worth the click. So I'll stop sharing there. And I liked what it had, but I actually think it fell short in a few ways. And this is going to be really fun for me because I then wrote two additional variations of this same email. And the I then sent all three variations into AI. Like I said, which one of these is going to convert best? And it said the AI generated one. So I took a new thread, and so it doubled down. It said this is the best email, and then it doubled down on it and said that it was better than mine. So I'll tell you what I thought through, and we'll see kind of what the results will be. So I wrote two different variations, and the first one that I wrote was a more, I'd call it like curiosity headline. So, what's your home worth? And I think that, and this is just a reminder to everyone who's writing email campaigns out there, like all the brokers who are doing this, the goal of a campaign is to get someone to do some action. And we've defined that as to actually enter in the mortgage information. That's our goal. The subject line is the goal of a subject line is to get the open to the email. That's it. You aren't trying to sell in the subject line. You're trying to get the open to the email. In the email, you're trying to get a click to the call to action. Like the call to action is the click, and then that's when you're actually going to do the selling, and you're going to get what you ultimately want. So each thing has a very prescribed purpose, and I see people trying to do too much sometimes with it. When I'm writing high converting, subject line gets the open, email gets the click, landing page gets the sale. This is generally how I think of these campaigns. So what I said, what's your home worth? I thought that was a little better than heads up, free home value plus mortgage insights coming your way. It was a little bit more intrigue. I think it's going to get more opens. Time will tell. And then I wrote it way more. I started to think about if my realtor, and this is where I got into the shoes of a borrower. I said, if my realtor sent me something and it looked more like they wrote it and they didn't generate it with AI or try and like sell me on something. I think that the people these days kind of have a feel for that. And if it feels like someone's selling them something, they don't want it, right? So I started with a much more like you were texting a friend type approach. I said, just a heads up, I started using a new tool called Ownwell. It sends out a personalized monthly email with home values based on the latest market data. So similar to AI, I tried to give them context right off the start, but I made it sound more colloquial and like, hey, I'm just talking to a friend. I continued that by saying, and this is where I layered in the social proof. I tried it out, and honestly, it's one of the most useful emails I get each month. I think you'll like it too. Look out for your invite in the next few minutes and let me know what you think. That let me know what you think is kind of another way of saying, I'm talking to you as a friend. This is super authentic. I think that mine builds in more social proof and has more authenticity built in. And then the PS is one of the highest converting places of an email because it's the last thing that someone's going to read, which is where I layered in the mortgage details and why they need to do that. So that was my first approach. I don't know, Greg, any questions, thoughts about the two that you've seen now, the two variations?
It's going to sound like it's padded, but I actually like this one better in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think, hey, listen, let's let the audience in the comments below just write in which one do you like better. Wait, there's one more though. Should we wait until we see the last one?
Yeah, so you can see the last one. So then I said, okay, well, what if I push this theory even further? This idea of like the most authentic version of like, wow, this realtor just wrote this to me. Like make the home buyer really feel like they're just getting this almost like this text from a friend kind of feel. And so I shortened the subject line even more and just said your home value. I tried a new tool called Ownwell that tracks your home value and sends you updates each month. I did it for my home and love it. So I wanted to share it with my clients. Check your inbox in a few minutes for a custom report and let me know what you think. It actually shortens it even more. And then I kept the PS. So I thought, if what I'm thinking works, could I go even tighter and even faster to get the same response? I still think I like two the best,
Me
but
too, but it's a
yeah,
close, but
it's
they're both
close.
way
Yeah.
better than AI. Now I got to figure out what to do here because I don't even want to send the one. Okay, we're gonna have to figure it out. I got three different databases. Maybe we'll try three different ones. But anyway, yeah, it's so interesting. My problem in the past has always been say too much. So then it's like try to cut it back. And I like how it's like That, and I think the other thing that's key that the AI didn't have, and I think it's because you didn't give it the context. It would be interesting to
Yeah,
see what it says if you gave it this context, but it didn't have the I tried this out myself personally and
it
was blown
did.
away with
I
the result.
think,
Wait, did it?
oh, it kind of did. This tool is super
Yeah.
helpful, totally free. I think you'll
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
the
because it was
social
like,
proof
because
component. Yeah,
what is
yeah,
true is all three of these realtors that agreed to do this, we did put their their homes
yeah,
into it
yeah,
live during the sales presentation, and they were blown away. Like that was
yeah,
actually what converted it because they're like, oh my God, this is so good. This is way better than anything else out there. I can't wait to get this started. When can we go? Side note, a little bit of my own life getting in the way of things I had, made things be more important, but also just the waiting to get the data properly is another hilarious thing. Of the three realtors, two of them kept phoning me. When's this happening? When do I get my own well? When's it going? It's like I'm blown away.
nice.
I can't believe it. Like I'm like, wow, you're actually calling me to get things going as opposed to me calling you to get things going. So, you know,
Yeah, let me show you. So we could do actually what we'll do on the fly here because you're right. I think that I kind of wanted to keep it because I was like, man, this was like the first thing that AI spit out, and I just want to show people that like it's not the end all be all. Like you actually have to think about this stuff and you have to really deconstruct it. But this was me putting all three emails, email one and email two and email three. And I said, which email is going to win? And it said email one, and it said why it believes that. So this was what it wrote. And it said the trust and framing, the clear value prop, the engaging tone. Um, and then it said mine was the runner up. So what I might actually do is say, you know, I think two and three are stronger because they rely on social proof and on um, more of a friendly, casual tone, not salesy. That's why we think it's going to win, right? Can you rework one to feel more um, to mirror the tone?
well, you could say too, like use this tool personally and was this a high driver is why they even want to do this in the first place. So there's that credibility, there's trust. Hey, I did this too. And so I think you're going to love it. That's what I love the best about
Yeah,
email too.
yeah. Okay. Let's see what it can do with email one, and we'll compare them. It's funny, AI always tells me, like they just it pumps your tires like all the time. It's
Always.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh
Actually,
yeah, man, you're the smartest. Good job.
yeah, you're the best
Um,
ever. But I think you can, apparently, I haven't done this, maybe because I like getting my tires pumped. I don't know. But you can tell AI to, no, no, be hard
chill
on me.
out. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
can tell it
yeah.
to, I want you to pick the best thing. But
Okay, so let's see what it did, and I'm actually gonna stop. I'm gonna reshare the document so that you can see these side by side. Let's go back here and let's throw this in here. I haven't even read it yet myself. So just a heads up, I asked Ownwell to send you something helpful. Don't love it. Don't know what
don't
Ownwell
love
is
it.
yet.
Don't love
Like
it.
I've been using this tool called Ownwell to track my home's value and mortgage insights, and I really love it. What's funny is that I'm starting to personally start to feel sold to when I see like these in dashes because AI is using them so much that I'm now reading more articles and reading more responses from people that are using that even just something that's subtle, and I'm starting to feel like AI wrote it, but that's probably just me because I use it all the time. Um, so I thought, why not share it with people I work with? You'll get an email from shortly with a custom link. It shows estimated home value. I don't know. I actually think the first one might be a little better.
I
Um,
agree.
what do you
All right.
think? Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Let's run with that. I think Cart, you're second. You're going to win. I'll try not to stack the
we'll
deck,
see.
but yeah.
We'll
I
see.
mean, if you don't, it's super interesting.
It
Uh,
is. It is.
because you're right. Like the human writes it with emotion and it doesn't get the other in the human. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I think it hits the mark. But so what can we do? Like, how else have you thought about ways of using AI to help mortgage brokers, our main audience here on this series, think about, their business?
Yeah, I mean, we do a Lendesk Mortgage Minute, and if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed to our Lendesk Mortgage Minute, go to lendesk.com, get on that newsletter because every single month I'm sharing what I would call kind of like swipe this idea, and usually it's AI related, and it's usually something you can plug and play into your business.
Okay, cool. Well, so yeah, go to lendesk.com, sign up. I mean, I really think you should anyway, because there's always really good ideas. Carter's emails are fun to read and there's always something in it. So I definitely think you should do that. Um, on AI, the other thing, which we started doing a lot of, is you can start to create mortgage planning reports for people. So this is a big part of how I've always done my mortgage business, but like now we're doing a mortgage wealth strategy plan. So, but you can now create this. Here's my idea. Here's Carter and Allison. Here's what's going on. Here's what's true for them. Here's some data points. I never put their last names in either, by the way, people, just first names is fine. And then, here's what I'm thinking about. Like they could pay off this debt and then they could, you know, put that extra money towards a ongoing monthly RSP contribution, blah, blah. Just tell it exactly how you're thinking about what the strategy is of what you would sell the person. Put all that into a prompt, really good, lots of context, particularly if it knows you've been doing this a lot, it just learns. Can you please generate me a report based on theme number one, like from a previous one, or just generate me a mortgage report? It's unbelievable. It's like executive summary. It's like highlights. Here's the strategy, and then here's the chart. If you don't do anything, here's where you'll be. Here's where you'll be if you do the strategy. And then blah 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 blah. All you can do that in less than 30 minutes of fine tuning, context shifting, a little bit of that, a little bit. All of a sudden, you got this awesome report. You shoot a Loom video saying, "Hey, Carter, just so I spent exhaustive hours of research looking at this report." Now you can leave that part out, but hey, Carter, and then so I'm emailing you the report, but here's a couple of the highlights that I think that might be interesting for you to be really focused on. Let me know what you think. Boom, done. And it just ups the sales conversion because people are like,
Yeah,
"Wow, this is really actually quite good."
yeah,
But AI did all the work. So,
yeah, it's excellent. I mean, I think that the things I've said, and I've spoke on like an AI panel a few times in the industry, and I think the things I've said, I'd love to just remind the audience here, if you haven't heard those, is um, brokers are very concerned with being replaced by AI, and we've all heard the brokers who adopt it are going to replace the ones who aren't. So there's that theory, but I would actually like to flip it on its head and say that the borrowers you're working with are actually getting replaced by AI. And here's what I mean by that.
mhm.
Yes, they're still the borrowers, but they're running everything you send them through ChatGPT now, right? Like I bet you by the end of this year, by the end of next year, half of all the emails and proposals you send out will be fact checked against common wisdom. And so if you want to know what your borrower is actually experiencing on the other side, become a client and start chatting with ChatGPT. Like actually type in, hey, who's the best mortgage broker in my city? And start to see the way that the AI is taking the reviews in the local area, how it's starting to position different brokers, how it's
Oh man, that's a
positioning
good
you.
idea. I could
Just
also
be
do
a
stuff
client.
like,
Yeah.
hey, hey, if what would borrowers typically ask if they were going to use you to vet the information?
Yes. Exactly.
And then AI
Exactly.
comes back and says, well, they're going to ask this, they're going to check this, they're going to check this. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to make sure all of those things are covered. Yeah, like, wow, that's a good idea. Okay. Well, let's land the plane on this. Thank you, Carter. What a great master class. And I'm going to run all three of those emails. I will let you know how they perform. And let's go from there. But hey, man, thanks for helping out.
Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck with the leads.
This is what I love about working with Carter. Strategy meets execution. We built the campaign, and now we're about to hit send on 500 real names. My first real test on a concept I've always loved. I've been thinking about adopting mortgages for 15 years, not just chasing leads. In episode 4, we'll show you what happened. This is the moment the campaign is written, the databases are loaded, the copy is optimized, the strategy is clear. Now, it's just time to press send. It's wild how something so small, a click, can feel so big. This is where momentum is born. Not in the planning, not in the prepping, in the doing. From here, it's out of my hands. The math will either hold or it won't. Either way, I'll learn. I'll adjust and I'll keep building. This isn't theory anymore. These are real people, real clients, real data. Next episode, I'll show you what happens. The conversion rates, the first replies, the deals if they come. This is what I signed up for. Testing the build mode blueprint in public for real. Jumping off the cliff and build the parachute on my way down. All right, month 2 of build mode. Not a breakout month, not a momentum month, but a necessary one. So we had 3 databases adopted, approximately 500 customers. Leads, I had 3 and I had a target of 7. So year to date on leads, 2 months in, 20 leads out of a target of 14. So we're still good, 6 ahead. Applications, I had 3 out of a target of 9. Year to date, I got 13 applications out of a target of 16. So I'm 3 behind after 2 months. And the most important part, I guess, deals, book deals, I got 4 out of a planned 5 last month. So despite leads and applications being down, remember what I said about on deck? Those deals came in, so that was good. So I'm now at a year to date of 6 deals out of a planned 9. So I'm still 3 deals behind on what I wanted to do. However, my total commission was $24,362 for a planned $22,000. So that's pretty good. Like in terms of looking at 2 months, and remember what I've said earlier too. Some of you might be saying, "Wow, you're not doing massive shooting towards $100 million or $200 million business." That's because I don't want that. I have 2 other businesses that I'm very active in, and this is the size of the business that I wanted. This is the type of business that I am. I'm slightly behind my targets, but not what is the more important one is revenue. And my lead to app and my app to fund were both quite good. It's a little early being 2 months in to get a trend line on that, but overall I'm pretty happy about that. If you are currently new in the business, I can tell you that if in your first 60 days in business, you made $24,000 in book deals and had 4 or 5, what do they say, 5, 6 transactions, and up on leads and everything, I think you'd be pretty happy about that. If you are renovating a business that has plateaued and you're currently a 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, $100 million broker, then just take everything that I'm doing. I'm going and trying to get 3 databases. You try to get 6. I'm trying to get 3 realtors. You try to get 8. So you can scale it. The ideas are the same, just scale it. I plan, or I choose to work on this business, 10 to 15 hours a week. So this feels right for me. So next, tracking opens, clicks, and conversions. We secured databases from 3 partners that added 500 new homeowners to the adopted mortgage pipeline. The adoption side of the strategy, that's working. I beat my target for the quarter. People do see the value in Ownwell, and the doors are opening. But if I'm honest, it also got a little messy. I had my marathon, my knee injury, a long-standing annual guys dirt bike trip. The campaign prep stalled. I was waiting for the realtors to clean up their data. And at times, I just wasn't as focused as I wanted to be. I'm learning a new lesson, and it replaces my old programming. Momentum doesn't come from intensity and grinding and whipping myself into shame and submission because I wasn't working hard enough or my leads weren't where they need to be. It comes from consistency. Even though I didn't move the whole blueprint forward this month in some areas, I got clearer. I now know what holds when life gets noisy, what breaks, and where the real friction points are. I'll be tracking these open rates, click-throughs, and opt-ins, but I'm also tracking one more thing: how well I keep showing up, especially if the results aren't instantly good. This is build mode. It's not always fast, it's not always clean, but it's always real. Let me leave you with something I've been sitting with lately. You've probably heard this one: show me your calendar and show me your bank account, and I'll show you what you really value. A few years ago, during my last build, mine would have screamed, business is everything, 24/7, 365, success at all costs. But not anymore, because now I'm building something real, and I'm building it in a way that doesn't cost me everything else. I'm still chasing growth, I'm still pushing edges, but I'm doing it without betraying myself. As I've said before, I have 3 businesses that I'm operating, so I'm busy and I'm pushing, and I am feeling motivated, and I am still wanting to have success and have growth, but I'm gonna do it without betraying myself. This month, honestly, the momentum slowed down in my mortgage business. Build mode got stuck in the mud. And the old voice showed up again. Push harder, do more, hustle, hustle, hustle through. Don't be weak. But instead of doubling down on the grind, I doubled down on stillness. I still trained, I rode my dirt bike, I rested, I sat with myself, and I listened. What I heard was this: I don't want to impress anymore. I want to express, I want to connect. I want to build with peace in my heart. And if your business isn't what it used to be, if your energy is scattered, if your life feels a little off or off balance or heavy, you are not broken. You are not failing. You are not behind. And you don't have to prove a damn thing. Man, it took me so long to discover the peace in that sentence. The deep down peace that is so meaningful. Get business results, get success, but the other areas of my life are also peaceful. I'm buying back my time, not just with money, but with intention. I'm building a life that includes my health, my mindsets, my peace, because an inspired founder doesn't just build companies. We build our whole lives, our health, our emotional balance, our clear and helpful mindsets, our relationships, and yes, our strong businesses. That's the inspired founder's way. Build Mode is proudly sponsored by Ownwell, the engine behind my entire client reactivation strategy. They make it simple to offer mortgage clients the clearest refinance analysis I've ever seen. It's what we're testing in this build mode with our adopted databases. If you're a broker and you're not using Ownwell, now's the time to try. Even for your own database, if you're not looking to adopt databases yet, maybe you want to see if my build mode math actually plays out. But your existing past clients, it's just an amazing thing. Upload it into there and get more results from your database. Now's the time to try. Click the link in the description of this episode and go check out Ownwell. Build Mode is also brought to you by Lendesk, Canada's leading mortgage tech platform. I sold my last product, Finmo, to Lendesk. Now they're powering everything I do in this new chapter of my life, including the marketing engine we built this episode around. They believe in helping brokers build the future, and I couldn't be more proud to have them here with me on my team. Go out and check out at lendesk.com. If something in this episode hit home for you, if you've felt the stall, the fog, the fear of building again, renovating your business, I'd love for you to join me inside Build Mode Weekly. I share what I'm learning in real time every week, what's working, what's not, and how we keep building with intention. And if you think this episode could help someone else, please share it, leave a comment, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. All of those things help us. Well, we made it. First marathon. Man, what a great experience. I really recommend this for anybody. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, it's been 30 years in the making, as I talked about, but that last 10K was where really I don't know, some real peace came over me. I met that pain with grace and ease instead of whipping it like a donkey, and it was good. I'm proud of myself. I did it. And honestly, I'll have more thoughts to say afterwards, but I'm just really grateful for the experience. I never thought I was going to get here. So here we are. No joke, it's hard. It's way more than I imagined, I think. Maybe not, I don't know. But I mean, I really didn't know what to imagine, but kudos to everybody who can do that. It's really good. Thanks for watching, and thanks for coming along on that journey with me.